Saturday Live Lounge, supported by Villa Gaiety. Keep up to date with the island's premier entertainment venue by following us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram.
That is Wet Leg and your mum. It's going to be an interesting chat with my studio guests because we've basically not stopped talking in the background the entire time they've been here, and I'm very, very happy about that. You know when you've got your pals in the studio, it just happens, doesn't it? Georgia, hello.
Hi.
It's so lovely to have you here.
It's wonderful to be here. Thank you.
And I love that because we talk to you a lot about your poetry. You have many, many guises. I mean, give us a rundown of the different creative things that you do and have done.
Obviously the poetry, random story writing, bits of drawing, rubbish at painting, rubbish at dancing. Doesn't stop me from doing it on stage though, because I went into the burlesque to do hosting, emceeing in the background, but it turned out that the comic side of it was huge as well. So while everybody else is being incredibly glamorous and gorgeous and creatively beautiful, there's me throwing myself about like some sort of giant sack of potatoes.
But you managed to look so glamorous.
Oh, but it's so much fun.
Yeah. And you're an actual real life mermaid.
Yes, I am. Absolutely.
She has a mermaid tail and everything.
I do. A tail, a monofin, a top, the whole shebang.
My word.
It's marvellous.
And you are a musician. Well, you're involved in a musical project. So you have been putting your poetry into this musical project, which is called Empire of. Before we come and talk to your partner in this whole thing, just explain what it is. What is Empire of?
Empire of honestly started as I had lost my voice because I had COVID, and as my voice came back, all I had was incredibly low or incredibly high in my cheekbones, like Cerys from Catatonia.
I was going to say, I love how you've got a bit of Welsh there.
That was it. That was the only voices that I had. I had no mid-range at all. And I found it incredibly funny and sang one of my poems into my phone and played it for Cosmic, who went, can you send that to me?
And what a voice it is. I mean, when you sang, you must have been thinking, oh, hello.
I love singing when I've got a cold. It's a terrible thing because you're not supposed to do it. It's very, very bad for your throat. However, the tones that come out are always marvellously good fun. But no, I really enjoy singing. I did harmonies for my sister for years. Fran has an incredible voice. She creates music under Zara Ruth. Please go and check her out. She's on all the socials, and she does a lot in the Northwest. She's quite often on BBC T's Introducing. But because,
so has she been really supportive of you doing this then?
She's always supportive of everything I do. She is a great cheerleader, as we all are for each other. But no, she always wanted to sing the soprano part from what's it called? Man in the Mask. Phantom of the Opera. There we
yes,
go.
Of course, yeah.
So she would always do the high parts, and I always was roped in to do backing singing and low parts. That was the background.
So you have been singing for a long time in a way, but just not sort of out front as such.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I played Baran for years. We used to be in a folk band, so that was always backing vocals as well. Mainly because I love rhythms, I love drumming, but I've got a long-term chronic injury in my right arm now, so I can't usually play it very often. It's
but it makes sense, doesn't it, when you say you love rhythm, you love sort of that idea of, I suppose, putting words into rhythm as well. With poetry, it all sort of fits, and so it makes sense that the next step is then to take your words and use your voice in this way to make music with it.
Absolutely. And I mean, all my characters for my poems and everything else, they're all just different voices, and singing is literally just taking one of those voices and bending it. So I don't think of it really as singing so much as just using someone else's voice, which sounds crazy. I appreciate it.
No, I love that. Well, let's introduce Cosmic then, because Cosmic, you are the other half of Empire of.
Indeed, yeah.
So you sort of basically create the soundscapes, do you? Then
I
for
definitely do, yeah.
So tell us how it works.
Well, we normally sort of come up with a concept over a fag and a cup of tea. And then, we come up with an idea or something, and we normally start hammering that out over a few days, and like I'll turn up with some sort of rough edged noise and or concept for it, and Georgia will nod her head or say maybe we need to do something else, and so we just work together like that all the time. It's back and forth every day, with us making music. But my background was like founder member of Pigs on the Wing, Tokyo Rose back in the day, rock band, very busy rock band. And I've been doing music all my life. I basically say that music is a byproduct of my existence. It's like going for a poo, or it comes out. It comes out. There's nothing I can do about it. So to have a talent like Georgia, be able to articulate it into a vocal style thing is just phenomenal. When the two of us get together, I think that we're putting something very, very special together. It's great fun. And it's really bonding for us, we're like, she doesn't fully understand my end and I don't fully understand her end, but we do sort of meet halfway. And
it just sort of works somehow. Yeah. Well, listen, I think we should give people an idea of what you sound like, because it is not like anything else that's out there over here, I don't think. It's very, very different.
Okay.
And yeah, do you know what? I was going to try and describe it, I'm not going to, I'm just going to play it. So we're going to hear Garden first. Tell us a bit about Garden.
Georgia has a garden at the back of her flat there, and within this very small space, she has a very big interest in flowers and plants and things like that, and also in her background work to do with medicine. She's very, very interested in old medicines and stuff like that, historically. And she was growing all these plants, and she started to do research into them, got a lot of fun out of gardening, and started to name them in this poem. And found out their original uses, and that's where it came from, kind of. But there's also another side to it that's, I don't know, just painting this vision of how people used to use like plants for everything, right? In fact, all medicines is based from plants originally, and all this knowledge was there, and it just getting into it and looking into it, for that subject, for that song. And she just articulated it in such a way with lyrics that it's phenomenal what she does.
It's also because my garden, it's not really a garden, it's a yard, and it's really small. But because we live in the middle of town, there's always the concern, has someone been in my garden? I have great fear. And sometimes one of the cats locally does come and climb all over my plants and crush them, and I get really angry.
It's very frustrating.
It's very annoying.
And the occasional drunk.
Yes, the occasional drunk.
Surely not. Well, let's let people have a listen to this first then. So this is Empire of, who are my studio guests this afternoon. You can drop us a text if you like, say hello, 166 or 177. And this is that song. It's called Garden.
Grow the shoots here in my witch's garden, tiny green tendrils that reach to the light. The fox wears the bells here in my witch's garden. Atropa bells not keep watch in the night. My heart is purple as hellebore that blooms in cold and rain. My colour warms with pleasure to thaw your frozen pain. Tall grow the trees here in my witch's garden, higher than head height, verbena in your eyes. Short grow the shrubs here in my witch's garden. All time is creeping, at least in your eyes. My heart is purple as hellebore that blooms in cold and rain. My colour warms with pleasure to thaw your frozen pain. Perfume hangs heavy in my witch's garden, lilac that lingers long after the sun. Firebird foxgloves in my witch's garden, mend broken hearts but could break them for fun. My heart is purple as hellebore that blooms in cold and rain. My colours warm with pleasure to thaw your frozen pain. Bitty invaders in my witch's garden, unwittingly playing with death at each touch. They nourish the ground here in my witch's garden. Blood meal and bone meal, there's never enough. My heart is purple as hellebore that blooms in cold your frozen pain.
That is a heck of a low note there, Georgia. Do you know what? We were just chatting about this off air. Now, first of all, we're going to talk in a minute about the fact there's lots of different versions of these songs, but we were chatting off air there about that particular song and sort of where it came from, but also the drama of it. And I think that's one of the things that makes this stand out is that you are such a performer with this, the way you enunciate and the way you deliver the lines. I mean, is it just a feeling when you're in the studio?
It's studio.
Yeah. Also, the recording process is slightly different to what people... Explain the recording process and how you do it, because this is a bit different as well.
So because we don't have equipment, really, all of the vocals on all of these were recorded on my phone.
Which is insane.
And then emailed to Cole. And Cole has... What machines do you have? You've got your little 8-track.
Yeah, it's a 16 track. It's an
16 tracks,
FTX. No, not FTX. That's the type of currency I'm talking about. It's an MT Fostex. That's what I got mixed up.
So somebody out there will go, oh, I know what he means.
Fostex 16 track recorder from probably the 1990s.
Excellent.
It was part of the process. We're quite retro people. I mean, I run a retro shop. That's we buy and sell and do up instruments. So when you get into that, like I have all kinds of strange instruments come through. When I repair them, I use them for a track, then sell them. So you never know what's going to come through the door, and that ends up on the tracks, doesn't it? So,
which just makes, again, it adds to that whole kind of the uniqueness of what you're doing, really, doesn't it? And that throwback, because it does have... when I listen to it, I was saying off air there, it makes me think of Lamb. That was one sort of influence that I think. And if people don't know a lot of Lamb's work, the song they will know is Gorecki, probably, isn't it? That was kind of like the big single. But go and listen to them because they are completely brilliant. Yeah. Do you ever listen to anything to get these kind of ideas, or do you literally just go in there and go, let's just throw this stuff together?
Well, I'd say for the deeper song, the Janis Joplin stuff, Georgia and I listened to a lot of Janis Joplin because we wanted to get that feel. When you're doing a tribute to someone like that, famous, she's got a massive fan base that's just, unmovable. And you have to do it knowing what you're doing because of the Pigs on the Wing background and all that, like I did a lot of blues stuff, but never wrote a blues track like that. And so Georgia played me a lot of Janis Joplin, which I didn't know that. I knew a few of the famous tracks, but not a great deal. So we just sat there listening to Janis Joplin tunes, and it came out.
I think our musical influences between us are so varied because I used to work in the original FOP in Glasgow. All of my music then was, I listened to an awful lot of techno, an awful lot of all white label music. So to go from trad, which is my background, and obviously being on the Isle of Man, everything is trad, to go into pretty hard techno with my background of completely loving blues, there's an awful lot of strange influences. And, of course, theatrical stuff. So anything Bjorky, I love Lamb. Lamb is,
Kate Bush,
heaven.
you're a Kate Bush fan?
I love Kate Bush.
Assuming,
not as much as my son, not as much as Joe. Joe loves Kate Bush.
We're going to talk to Joe shortly because he's in the studio as well, and I want to talk to him about his music. But first, we'd Empire off. So we will play deeper in a bit, but before we do that, we're going to play Pedestals. And before I play Pedestals, what I do want to talk to you about is the fact that there are lots of different versions of your songs. Explain, please.
Okay, so the idea is we're doing 3 versions of 12 songs and then a 13th one that will be on all the albums. But we're just doing it as a bit of a challenge to ourselves because then people can pick and choose what they want, what version they want to listen to. Because
how different are they all?
They're pretty different. Like, George has got me making waltzes, for God's sakes.
Oh, amazing.
That doesn't work on modern instruments and stuff, and it's not that easy.
You need a harpsichord, mate.
Well, we've used we're doing it.
I just get you guys.
But each version has its own twang to it, both musically. In fact, some of them we actually use the same lyrics, but they sound like completely different songs because of the music's been changed. Yeah. And like as I say, I write so much music. Like in my head and then straight onto the recording. That it's not difficult to find like different versions or different rhythms or different approaches to things. In fact, we're about to do another version of Deeper as a Buran folk tune from a blues track to Buran.
But you can't play it because you're injured, George.
No, she can. She can. I will make her. I've got,
do it in short little stints.
That's
Exactly.
right.
Have a rest.
That's the answer.
Put something hot wrap.
Yeah.
And then carry on. You know what you're doing anyway. You
I
know
have
medicine.
I'll
So
hit her
you're
with an
all
old
good.
tennis racket that I've got in the house. She'll do it. She'll do it. If I have to stay up all night,
Can we strum it?
we could use one vintage one from the shop.
Amazing.
But if I have to stay up all night and do this music, she's got to do it too. It's not going to just be me.
No, it ends up being all sorts of strange things.
Well, let's let them hear another track here. So we've got Pedestals here, and I should say, while we were playing the previous tune, Garden, Paul P messaged in halfway through, just in capitals, I should say, saying, "Love it!" with a big sort of loved up kind of smiley face.
It could have been predictive text, though. You could have put "loathe it," and it could have come up, "love it."
And then accidentally added a lot of love at the end. Yeah, you never know. Well, hey, Paul, let us know what you think of this next one then. So this is Empire of, and this is very different to the previous one again. This is called Pedestals.
The mob with scythe and sickle, burning torches, glassy eyes, adoration false and fickle, come to cut her down to size. They invested, they projected, told her she could have it all, and when she did the unexpected, people forced her graceless fall, bind her hands and cut her tongue out, mock her struggle to survive, harbor her with heartfelt hatred, sharpen up your spiteful knives. Parcel out her flesh as pound cakes, pass around her hack of hair, memorize her worst mistakes, and burden her with cross to bear. Be careful when you are beholden. Flatterers are always liars. Don't believe your hype or fan base. Pedestals are funeral pyres.
sounds at the end. And that extraordinary high note at the end there as well, which came from one of my studio guests, Georgia here. We're talking to Empire of, if you've just tuned in, by the way. So we've got Cosmic and Georgia with us, who are the duo that make up Empire of, and that was Pedestals. We're going to hear what is sort of the single, in a way, I suppose, deeper in a moment. We were just hearing about it with the Janis Joplin link, but we haven't done your first yet. And this is my new thing, this is my way of finding out a little bit about people and their backgrounds. And I think you guys are going to have some interesting answers to these. So Georgia, let's come to you first. So what was, do you remember what the first album you bought was, and crucially, what format it was in?
I do, but I was quite late buying my first album because all I did was steal my mum's vinyls for years.
Well, that's pretty good in itself.
Sorry, Mum. But
you need to change it to what vinyl did you steal first?
No, the first album I bought, which was on CD, was Kylie Minogue. Impossible Princess, which is the album that she made when she was going out with Michael Hutchence, and it's
So
the
that
first
was-
one she made when
yeah.
she split from all the contracts. It's got drum and bass on it. It's got some really good rock
Oh,
music
that's
on
so
it. It's
cool.
an amazing album. I recommend anyone.
She
listen
did
to
go
it.
through that because she did that song with Nick Cave as well,
Exactly.
didn't she?
That
Which
was the
just
year
amazing.
he advised and produced on the album. It's
Ah,
brilliant,
good
brilliant
choice,
album.
actually. And again, surprising, which is why I love doing this. Okay, Cosmic, what was the first album you bought? What format?
Well, it was vinyl. It was an LP, and it was bought for me for my birthday, really. And it was hits of the 1960s and 70s.
So like a compilation
A
thing.
compilation, and the songs I remember, it was that Slade song, "Cause I Love You." Is that what it's
Yeah.
called?
Oh, because I love, yeah,
I
that's on
love
the
that.
system, yeah.
Love that song, and also the Mighty Quinn.
Good
So I was born in
shout, yeah.
1971, though, so I'm an old geezer. But yeah, that was the first one for me.
All right, what about, Georgia, the first live gig you remember going to see?
See, that's really hard. Again, over here, probably the Thornton Builders.
Oh, what a band. What a band. That is a good shout. And
It was
do
good.
you remember kind of the energy of it and what it made you feel like?
Well, we were always surrounded by music, always had music in the house, and I just remember dancing because
Yeah.
I love to dance.
They did make you want to dance. They
Yes.
really did. Right, what about you, Cosmic? First gig you went to?
First gig I went to was in a lounge of some of my friends' house, and they were a band called the Hellfire Club, and it was my brother's mates, and I thought it was excellent because I was like literally feet away from the musicians, and I literally thought, I can do this, and that's what people need to see. You know, they need
Yeah.
to like get that close, like, I could do this, because you can, and this is the point, isn't it? You know, we all can. If we just, even with nothing, we can make music, and it's superb, and everyone should, no matter what they've got, what they haven't got, they should just be making music.
Well
Or writing
said.
poetry, or just being creative, right? Just doing something creative.
This
never
is
about the
nourishing,
tools.
isn't it? It is
yeah,
nourishing.
Yeah, and like, there's no limit really. It's only your imagination that is the limit. Like, you know, we used to use the backs of drawers as drums. You know, my first band.
I played a walk with a wooden spoon at one of my
Right.
earliest gigs.
Right,
So,
well,
you
that's
know, you
quite
can do
trendy
anything.
now.
Hot chip.
But like back,
No, this was 15 years
yeah,
ago.
exactly. But like nowadays,
over and
people are like,
over.
oh,
I mean, the way that album was made, it was children's percussion instruments. From
Yeah,
the
that's
Learning
what. Yeah,
Centre.
got loads of them.
So
Yeah.
exactly.
I just say,
Do
everyone
anything.
get out there, and if you go and watch music live, it makes you realise that these people, same as the actors that I worked with for a few years and stuff like that, they're no different than us, you know.
Yeah.
And so what they are, we can be. We just have to believe that we can do it and just do it.
That's some inspiring stuff. Well,
Gotta
so what is your plan then for Empire of? Are you going to be performing these songs live then, or what's the kind of idea?
At some point.
Yeah, when you work out how.
Certainly into consideration when I'm doing these, I'm seeing the drummer playing, I'm seeing the guitar playing, and like how we can, you know, I mean, I'm great friends with James Craig, and you know, the Pigs on the Wind
Yeah.
Martin and all this, that, and the other. And you know, there's so much talent out there that it wouldn't be hard to redo these live. And in fact, I've done backing tracks for Georgia, so she can perform all the vocals live at any time she likes. But it would be nice to do some of these live.
It would.
But we've still got to do. We're on song number 4 out of song number 13. And then times that by 3. So I've got a lot of work
It'll
to do
happen,
first.
but
Hopefully.
we need to wait on it.
Hopefully.
Well, we're gonna basically wrap things up by playing Deeper, and then we are gonna see if we can get Joe here to stay a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I might have a chat with him after 6. But Georgia, introduce Deeper for me then. Just tell me a little bit about it, and then we'll get this on because it's a good chunky track for us to finish with.
Okay, so my first favourite, the album that I stole first and then played incessantly for years and years and years and years and years, was Janis Joplin's Greatest Hits. And I mean, the other one that I stole was Jethro Tull's Heavy Horses. Sorry, mother. But I was obsessed with Janis Joplin, and she's my first favourite, and no matter what happens, I will always, always love her. Now, this song came about because Cosmic was asking me, how did she die and what happened? And of course, the overarching story is that she overdosed on heroin, when actually that's not true. Peggy Caserta, who was Janis Joplin's girlfriend when she was still alive, also the woman that invented bell bottoms, has,
we love you.
Yes, has come out and said that looking at the reports, Janis died with a handful of change, a packet of cigarettes in her hand, lying back on her bed with a broken nose and a mouthful of blood. Now, what they think happened was actually that she'd run out of fags cigarettes. She was waiting for two people to turn up for a tryst that particular night, and neither of them did. Ran out of cigarettes, went to buy more from the vending machine, fell over on the way there, broke her nose, got her cigarettes, got her change, went back to her room, had taken a lot of heroin, lay down on the bed and choked to death on her own blood.
Oh, my word.
Rather than overdosing on heroin. So the song is the song that she would have written from beyond the grave. But the song Deeper has got lots and lots of song titles of hers strewn through it anyway. And there's bits where we listened to her so that I could kind of steal her voice a little bit. There's bits where I've stolen accents that she uses and pronunciations that she uses throughout it. So,
well, do listen out for all of those little clues there in this song. So for now, thank you so much, Empire. We will chat to you again because we need to find out about mermaid projects and all kinds of things. But first up, this is Deeper, and you can find Empire Of all over socials, on Spotify, all over the place as well. Do look them up.
So long I said I've been waiting for so long, but like every man or woman who ever has been your running mate. You never call, never phone or write. You just don't show up for our days. No, no. All I ever wanted was one good man. All I ever wanted was a love that's deeper. So I met a poet at the Chelsea. He said, I'll be your Bobby, you can be my Bridget. So I lent him my head and he gave me a hand, baby. Get it while you can. He promised me poems. I said, ha, catch me, daddy. But read to old ladies instead. Yeah, yeah. All I ever wanted was one good man. All I ever wanted was a love that's deeper, yeah. I'm just a woman left lonely, singing in this empty room. I gotta try just a little bit harder to wait
my cigarettes burned out too soon. So I am out here walking in the rain, little girl blue with her ball and chain. What good can drinking do? All I ever wanted was one good man. All I ever wanted was a love, a love, a love, a love. Let's get So I found myself a new man. He's tall and he is thin. Not much of a looker. His countenance is grim. He's only got one outfit. His smile is wide. No Mercedes Benz, just a horse to ride. Under this half moon, it's finally time to stop my misery.
What a good tune. That is Talking Heads. Nothing but flowers. I think that's absolutely brilliant. That again, I heard that the other day and went, oh, I need to play that for you. David Byrne, what a legend. Before that, Redbone, Come and Get Your Love. Right, something a little bit different now. We were chatting with Empire of before, and they brought a guest with them. Hello, Joe.
Hello.
Just explain your relationship here with Empire of. Why are you here?
Because this is actually my family. So Georgia is my mum and Cosmic is my stepdad. So we're
So you basically came up to kind of explore and just see what's going on and have an experience. But do you know what? We were chatting off air and I asked you to stay because you have quite the kind of musical background yourself anyway. So just tell us about your sort of experience in music.
So I like gaming music and also like the Japanese pop music as well, which I find quite interesting. And I also like playing the piano and the keyboard.
So yeah, and you've been doing this for quite some time, I think, haven't you? When did you first start to play?
I can't remember when I first got my Roland, but
2015 you got your Roland.
Yeah, I got it in 2015.
So some time ago. Do you mind saying how old you are now? Is that
I'm
okay?
14 now.
14, so he's been playing for a good amount of time here. And I wanted to talk to you to get kind of the perspective of someone of your age, basically, because you consume your music and find your music in a very different way. So you mentioned games there.
Yeah.
I think there's an awful lot of emphasis now, isn't there, on sort of the music that's in games, because it's not just songs, it's soundtracks as well, isn't it? Tell us a little bit about that.
So I like the Undertale soundtrack because of like the different varieties of sound effects they use and different like tunes and how they're like put together differently, and there's a whole load of remixes. And I also like
Which one are you thinking, Jeff?
Animations.
The animation
Japanese
side of it.
anime music as well.
So have you discovered like kind of different artists and things through listening to music from games?
Yeah, because the Undertale artist Toby Fox is one of my favourites. So yeah.
That's so cool. And then do you sort of like try and go and play some of the music yourself then?
Yeah.
Is that how it happens?
I play by ear, so.
Oh, that's so good. So what do you think of your family's music then? What do you make of Empire of?
I'm actually enjoying it, and it does get a little bit out of hand in the car.
Careful.
It's really diplomatic.
You like it?
Yeah,
which is good. But also, I was hearing off air that you've got a quite an eclectic taste in music in general. So you like a lot of sort of older artists, don't you?
Yeah.
Give us a rough idea of who you would quite often find yourself listening to.
So I would say, as Cosmic mentioned off air, Madness.
Yeah.
I like Kate Bush.
Uh-huh.
And I like who was it?
Listen to the White Stripes recently.
Yeah, White Stripes as well is a good one.
Good choice. That is a good choice. So, what advice would you have then for someone who's thinking they might want to kind of like explore getting into music themselves at your age? I mean, because you obviously get a lot out of it, don't you?
Yeah, I would recommend like maybe start off with like games you know, sort of thing. So like Sonic or Mario or like the classics or Legend of Zelda, and like maybe start practicing with that. And try and maybe Google like sheet music for it if you can read music. So
because it means then you're sort of learning to play something that you love already, which is great, isn't it? And what would be your plans for music? Do you want to carry on doing music?
I would like to continue doing music, but I haven't chosen music for my GCSE because it's quite difficult. But I like doing music like just out of school times, and at break time at school I like going on the piano.
Oh, fantastic. I think he's got a good future ahead of him here. I just had you come around this other side to have a look at how all of this works. Technically, I'm going to try and encourage you to maybe consider a career in radio as well, because you seem like you've got the nous for it. So I'm going to let you introduce the next song for us, Joe. Would you mind doing that for us, and then we'll get it on? Okay, what are we going to hear then?
Kate Bush, Wuthering Heights.
Thank you so much, Joe. It's lovely chatting with you.
Saturday Live Lounge, supported by Villa Gaiety. Keep up to date with the island's premier entertainment venue by following us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram.